Hello and welcome back to the GNAT-TV's News Project Live on the GNAT-TV's Facebook page. I'm Andrew McKeever, the news director at GNAT-TV's News Project. Pleasure to be back with you again on Friday, May 27th. And we'll get right to it here. We're going to start off with some statewide news, basically a roundup of the political races that are sort of finally beginning to round into near final shape anyway. And the big news today is, as many of you probably have already heard, State Senator Keisha Ram Hinsdale has announced that she's not going to be a candidate any longer for the U.S. congressional seat currently held by Peter Welch. She was one of five candidates in the Democratic Party primary running to replace Congressman Welch. But she announced this morning that she's going to drop out of the race and is throwing her support to State Senator Becca Balint, who is the State Senate pro tem, represents Windham County in the state legislature. So that's a big change that certainly gives a big boost to Senator Balint's candidacy. Senator Ram Hinsdale has announced that she will instead run for re-election to the state senate from Chittenden County that she's currently representing. But let's go down the list here and kind of just do a roundup of who's running for what, because yesterday was the last day for candidates to file petitions or applications to get on the ballot for the August 9th primary. Well, let's start with the U.S. congressional race here that we were just talking about. Currently, now that Senator Ram Hinsdale has dropped out, that leaves Senator Balint, Lieutenant Governor Molly Gray, former congressional staffer Shanae Chase Clifford, and Dr. Lewis Myers, who's a physician at the Rutland Regional Medical Center. They are all in the Democratic Party primary. Over on the Republican side, there are two candidates that have announced. Erica Reddick and Anya Timio, and also an independent candidate, Liam Madden. The Progressive Party has put forward Barbara Nolfi as a candidate, although, as I understand it, at this point, the Secretary of State's office has not yet certified all of those petitions. So we'll wait and see on that, but it looks like that's going to be the the shape of the race anyway, and as we've been doing, we've been trying to do little one-on-one interviews with all the major candidates. So we are going to try and get to the ones that we haven't spoken with yet to give you an opportunity to hear directly from them as to what they would do if they were elected to the U.S. Congress. So let's see, going on from there. It's interesting, there's a large number of open seats in the State House that will be up for grabs this year, as we talked about 2 weeks ago, the last time we had one of our News Project Live programs. Uh, I'd just like to focus on, I guess, some of the, I guess you could call it executive department positions that are open. That would be the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the State Treasurer. All those posts are the incumbent office holders are stepping down, and there are several candidates from both parties who have put their names in, as well as independents, um, interested in becoming either the new state treasurer, the new secretary of state, or the new attorney general. Let's start with the treasurer's race. On the Democratic side, Mike Pichak, who was many will remember from the governor's weekly press conferences, is the director of financial regulation and was the one who was giving all the modeling reports on the COVID pandemic numbers. He is running currently unopposed in the Democratic primary. On the progressive side, Don Schramm is running for the Progressive Party nomination. And on the Republican side, H. Brooks Page will be running for that post and also for another one, which I'll mention in a minute. He is going to be opposed in the Republican primary by a newcomer, a financial analyst named Kevin Divney. So we will see how that plays out on the race for state treasurer. Moving on to the attorney general. We have a bit of a local angle on that one. Is Charity Clark, who is the former chief of staff for the incumbent Attorney General T.J. Donovan. Many will remember is a former Manchester resident, graduate of Burton, class of 1993. We are looking forward to having an interview with her on GNAT on June 17th. So mark your calendars for that one, and it'll be interesting to hear from Ms. Clark as to what her agenda is should she be elected to the post of Attorney General. She is being opposed in the Democratic primary, though, by the state prosecutor, the state's attorney for Washington County, a gentleman named Rory Thibault. We'll hopefully have a chance to talk with him as well before we get to August. And over on the Republican side, H. Brooks Page, the fellow who's also running in the for the treasurer post, has also put his name in for the attorney general post, and currently he is the only Republican nominee or running for the Republican nomination. And the Progressive Party has a gentleman named Elijah Bergman, hoping to be on the November ballot. Moving on to the Secretary of State position, bit of a traffic jam there. Representative Sarah Copeland Hansis, who represents a district in Bradford, is running. So is Montpelier City Clerk John Odom, and Deputy Secretary of State Chris Winters. He is the incumbent. Jim Condos is number two, and he is. Those three are vying for the Democratic nomination for Secretary of State. And on the Republican side, we have H. Brooks Page, and also Robert Miller is the only progressive to have declared. Moving on to Lieutenant Governor's race. Boy, that's a crowded scene there. An important race this year, actually, because Governor Phil Scott, who is currently unopposed for the Republican nomination, check that. I believe there are a couple of candidates who have announced. We'll mention those in a moment. But obviously, the odds-on favorite it would be, if he is successful in winning, would be entering his fourth term. It's usually at a point where a lot of incumbent governors say, well, four is enough. And so therefore, the lieutenant governor, whoever winds up winning that race, is going to be in a very good position to make a bid for the top job. So on the Democrat side, we have Charlie Gimbel, who's currently a representative from the Woodstock area. A nonprofit executive, Patricia Preston, is also running. A former legislator, Kitty Toll, is throwing her hat in the ring, and we also had an interview with Ms. Toll that's currently on our website at GNAT-TV.org. You can watch it there. And again, we hope to get to all of the candidates before August is over. And, David Zuckerman, former lieutenant governor, ran for the governor's position in 2020, opposed Phil Scott, but lost that race. He is now seeking to return to the lieutenant governor position. So very interesting race shaping up there on the Democratic side. Also on the Republican Party side, where we have Senator Joe Benning, who represents Caledonia County in the state legislature, has announced he's a candidate, and also Gregory Thayer, who is, I believe, an auditor or accountant living in Rutland, is also running. Cindy Weed is alone in her bid for the Progressive Party nomination. Anyway, as I said earlier, Phil Scott is the main candidate on the Republican side for the nomination for governor, but two other candidates who probably are not well known to many, Stephen Bellows and Peter Duvall, are also on the Republican side. And on the Democratic side, only Brenda Siegel so far has announced to run in the Democratic primary. So it looks like she's going to very likely be the nominee for the Democrats for the governor's position. Susan Hatch Davis is running on the Progressive Party ticket. Moving on to the state auditor position, Doug Hoffer, the incumbent, is unopposed in the Democratic primary. H. Brooks Page again is the only Republican who has thrown his hat in that particular ring. And well, it all adds up to a very busy season. I should mention also before we move on that in the Republican Party for the Attorney General seat, Christina Nolan is running along with Gerald Malloy of Wethersfield and also Myers Murmel. Those three are running for the Republican nomination. Martha Abbott is in the bid has put in a bid for the Progressive Party nomination. All of this, of course, triggered in large part, by Peter Welch hoping to replace Senator Patrick Leahy, who is retiring, and will move on up to the U.S. Senate if he's successful in his race. And that sort of set off a long trigger of other people looking to run for office. So, an exciting year on the political front, and we will certainly be following all of these candidates as best we can as we go forward to the August primary and then from then on to the November general election. So, turning to local news, the Manchester Journal is reporting that the town of Manchester had a pretty good year when it came to collecting local option tax revenue. Apparently, came in almost more than $350,000 more than they were budgeting for. They budgeted for about 1.2 million, and the final totals from the rooms and meals and sales and alcohol tax, local option taxes came in at about well, let's see here, 1.5 million, 1.554 million, $1,554,000. That's a record. Never had that much money come in from local option taxes ever. So that amount above the $1.2 million mark, $1.38 million mark, can be allocated towards lowering property taxes in the town. So, well, the economy seems to be rolling along when it comes to goods and services that visitors to our area want to take advantage of. All right, well, turning to some events that are coming up, obviously this coming weekend is Memorial Day weekend on Monday. The 31st is going to be, I guess, the holiday. There will be a parade in Arlington starting at 10 o'clock, leaving from the Arlington Recreation Park, and it will head down the road from there to the Fisher Elementary School, if you want to join in on that one. In Manchester, there will be no parades, but there will be two ceremonies, one at 10 o'clock at the Dellwood Cemetery in Manchester Village, and then another one at 11 a.m. at the Factory Point Cemetery in Manchester itself. And there'll also be a reception at the VFW post, the Harnett-Fowler VFW post on Depot Street in Manchester after that 11 o'clock ceremony. Also time for school graduations. This afternoon at 4 p.m., Long Trail School will be holding their graduation ceremonies. Burn Burton will be following next Friday, that's June 3rd, at 5 p.m. Arlington Memorial High School will have theirs the next day, Saturday, June 4th at 12 noon. And Maple Street School will be holding their graduation ceremonies on June 8th, next week at 1 p.m. Normally we'd be doing a COVID update, I guess, at this point on some of the latest numbers that we'd be getting from the health department, but the health department has changed the way they've been reporting the COVID numbers. They're not breaking out the statistics in quite the same way as they were. So we're going to do the best we can here. The last report that the health department has published came out on May 25th. And it basically covers a period of time from May 15th to May 21st. Basically, they're telling us that statewide community levels are still high. And the rate of new COVID-19 weekly cases per 100,000 Vermonters is above 200. In other words, for every 100,000 Vermonters, there's been about 200 cases. New COVID-19 hospital admissions are about 10 per 100,000 Vermonters per day. and new COVID cases, an average of the last 7 days, is a little over 286. The counties with the highest levels of COVID cases are Bennington, Rutland, Windsor, Orange, and Washington counties. Those five are the current hotspots, I guess. Franklin and Lamoille counties were the two counties that reported a low number of cases, and all the other counties are in between or medium. Also, farmers markets are returning. We'll close with this. It's that time of year again. Manchester's farmers market began yesterday. It runs from 3 to 6 p.m. Over at Adams Park. Londonderry's farmers market, or rather the West River farmers market, will be starting tomorrow, Saturday, beginning at 9 a.m. Arlington's farmers market will be starting next Friday, June 3rd, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Arlington Recreation Park. And Dorset's farmers market kind of goes on all year, but now it is back outside at the H.N. Williams store beginning at 10 a.m. I think it runs from 10 to 2 p.m. Alrighty, well, we will leave it there for today. Thank you all for being with us. Hope you've had a good week, and looking forward to a relaxing, enjoyable weekend, a long holiday weekend, and certainly we'll all do our best to remember those who served, and those veterans, and those who made the ultimate sacrifice to preserve our country's freedom. All right, that'll do it. My name is Andrew McKeever for GNAT-TV News Project. Have a great day.